Have you ever wondered why many drilling problems like well collapse, kicks, and stuck pipe happen because one thing is not designed properly? Hello everyone, welcome to Energy Vision Global. I'm Mohammad Wakkar. Today we will understand what is drilling mud and why it matters in a very simple and professional way. Imagine you are drilling a very deep hole in the ground to find oil and gas. As the hole goes deeper, the ground becomes hotter and more unstable, and underground pressure increases. Now, let me ask you a simple question. If we keep drilling without any support, what do you think will happen to the hole? Of course, it can collapse, or gas and water can suddenly enter the well. To avoid these problems, we use a special liquid called drilling mud. Drilling mud is not ordinary mud. It is a carefully engineered fluid designed to help the drilling process. It may look like thick water or chocolate milk, but it is made using water or oil, clay, and special chemicals. At this point, you might be wondering, why can't we just use plain water? The answer is simple. Plain water cannot control pressure, cannot carry through cuttings properly, and cannot protect the well walls. That is why drilling mud is specially designed for each well. During drilling, the mud is pumped continuously from the surface down through the drill pipe. When it reaches the drill bit, it helps the bit cut the rock. As the rock breaks, small pieces called cuttings are created. Now, think about this for a moment. If these cuttings stay inside the well, what problem could they cause? Exactly, they can block the well and stop drilling. This is why the mud carries these cuttings back to the surface. At the surface, the cuttings are removed and the clean mud is sent back into the well again. This continuous movement is called mud circulation. One of the most important jobs of drilling mud is to control underground pressure. Deep below the surface, oil and gas are under very high pressure. Here is an important question. What happens if this pressure is stronger than the mud pressure? The answer is a gas kick or even a blowout. Drilling mud applies the right pressure to balance the formation pressure and keep the well safe. This is one of the reasons why drilling mud is considered the life of the well. Drilling mud also helps keep the well strong as it flows along the well walls. It forms a thin protective layer that supports the rock and prevents the hole from collapsing. Let me ask you another simple question. Why is hole stability so important? Because if the hole collapses, the drill pipe can get stuck and drilling may have to stop. Mud also helps cool and lubricate the drill string. Drilling creates a lot of heat, and without cooling, the drilling tools can be damaged very quickly. Now, let us talk about the mud engineer. The mud engineer is the person responsible for the drilling mud at the rig site. You can think of the mud engineer as the doctor of the drilling fluid. Just like a doctor checks a patient's health, the mud engineer checks the health of the mud. He continuously tests the mud to see how heavy it is, how thick it is, and how it behaves when drilling stops and starts. You may ask, why are these tests done so frequently? Because drilling conditions change all the time, and the mud must change with them. Based on the test results, the mud engineer decides whether chemicals need to be added. Here is an important question. Can we add chemicals without testing first? The answer is no. Adding the wrong chemicals or the wrong amount can cause serious problems such as stuck pipe, loss of circulation, or well collapse. This is why the mud engineer must be very careful and knowledgeable. The mud engineer also works closely with the drilling team. He communicates with the drilling engineer, tool pusher, drilling supervisor, and mud loggers to make sure everyone understands the condition of the well. Let me ask you this. Why is teamwork important at a rig site? Because drilling is a team effort and one mistake can affect everyone. The mud engineer prepares daily reports and monitors how much mud and chemicals are being used. Most importantly, he helps prevent problems before they happen. In very simple words, drilling mud is like blood in the human body. It keeps everything moving, controls pressure, and protects the well. The mud engineer is the person who takes care of this system from the beginning of drilling until the well is completed. Now, ask yourself one final question. Can safe drilling happen without drilling mud and a mud engineer? The answer is very clear. No. Now you have a clear and simple understanding of what drilling mud is and what a mud engineer does at the rig site. If you found this explanation helpful, please like the video, subscribe to Energy Vision Global, and comment below if you want the next video on types of drilling mud testing, or mud engineer interview questions.